3, 2, 1. Hi everybody and welcome to Advanced Digital Art, where we are going to take your art objects that you made in the last project, we're going to add more to them, and then we are going to combine them with layers. So how we're going to start this off is just review what we should have turned in last class and what we should have right now. You should have at least 3 shapes with their original black line. You should have 3 shapes that you colored in, and you should have those first 3 shapes also saved as an SVG. And then finally, you should have the thing you turned in for the grade. It should have all 3 of your objects on a white background. If you have all that, you are good to go and we can get started. So to start things off, we are going to go to Pixlr, and what we are going to do is add to our original object that we had last time. The first step, once we get to Pixlr, is to left click on New, and before we should have had 200 by 200 pixels, but now we're going to change that to width 200, but we're going to make it taller. We're going to change the height to 540. Also, there's a weird bug in Sketchpad where if you delete, it won't let you delete the last number. The way around that is if you just select, you can just type in the number. So select and type. So I'm going to click transparent, and that should be good. And how I'm going to bring my original artwork in is I'm going to click on Clip Art. Click on Clip Art. I'm going to load my own image, and I can pick any of my colored shapes. So for this one, I'm going to grab this weirdo face I've got here, and I'm going to move that up to the top. So notice there's going to be that centered line. So if I want to keep it centered, I can do that. Probably looks pretty good. And now what I'm gonna do is go to zoom. So I want to zoom in to make it fit. And now I'm going to click back over to my tool. I want to go to streamer, and I'm going to make that 3 pixels or 5 pixels, anything. Since this is a face, I think that I'm going to maybe draw, I'm going to try to draw like a weird stick figure kind of character. Let's see. Now when I have my my body, or I filled the space with a little more digital art, what I want to do is, this is very strange, I'm going to click the save button, and I'm going to save as a PNG. I'm going to go to 0 CS Studio, and I'm going to click new folder, and I'm going to name that folder 4-Advanced Digital Art with Layers. So double click in there. I'm just going to save this as Redhead Man with Body. Just name your artwork, whatever it was. Click save. And now we're going to go over to Pixlr. So when we're in Pixlr, we're going to go to File, Open Image, and you're going to go to that same folder, so 4-Advanced Art, and you're going to open up your guy. You can make it big if you want, and we're going to color it just like we did in the last one. So we're going to click a new layer here, and we're going to zoom into color. So just a couple as a reminder from the last assignment, we click on a brush. You can click down to 5, set the hardness up, or you can make it bigger if you want to. Remember, you needed to make a new layer. And if you see over here, so make sure you're not drawing on that original layer. Then when you get up around the edges, you'd want to make your brush a little bit smaller. Oh. If you mess up, just Control Z. Remember, if you mess up at all, you can go over to the eraser. Make sure you click one of the solid erasers there. If you want to pick a new color, you can click one of those empty ones, click here, and then use the eyedropper to pick the old color, and then just make it a little bit darker. All right, and when you are finished with the rest of your character, whatever it's going to look like, we are going to do a file, save, whatever your name was that you chose for your art, just put color in all caps right next to it and click save. When you've done that, we're good to go. And what we are going to do now is close out. At this point, what I need you to do is go to assignment 5 in your classroom. Attached to that file, if you view assignment, should be 1080 by 1080 semi-transparent design grid. Now in normal Photoshop, you can turn on a grid to make sure that whatever you're designing is symmetrical or balanced, where it's the same on the left and right or top and bottom. But in Pixlr, they don't have that. What you can do instead of turning on a grid like you can do in Photoshop, is you can download a grid to make your art on, to make sure that it is symmetrical and it's fitting properly on the screen. So if you open this up, and once you download and open up the 1080, we can use that as a piece of design. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go Layer, Open Image as Layer, and I'm going to navigate to my art that I just finished. So I'm going to go to my red head man with body color and open that up. I'm going to move him up to the top so you can see that we have 7 blocks across. So we can kind of keep them centered if we keep it right in the middle of those 2 blocks. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Now what I want to do is I'm going to right click on layer 1 and I am going to click duplicate layer. Now I have 2. What I'm going to do now is edit, free transform, and here's the difference from last year. We're going to hold down the shift button, and what we are going to do once we hold down the shift button is we are going to click to rotate, so this will do a 180 flip. I'm going to let go of the shift button, and now what I'm going to do is drag this guy down close to the bottom. So I could move it up like here. I think that would be okay. So I can fit them together, and I'm going to right click, merge down. Now remember, your layer 0 should be your transparent grid, so don't merge down into that. In fact, you could always call it, if you double click on it, I'm going to call it grid, so remember that it's there. Now, when you have your layer 1 selected, you can move him around, or you can move your layer to be centered on the center line. And I'm going to right click and duplicate again. I'm going to go edit, free transform, and I'm going to hold down shift again. And I'm going to click and drag to move it. And I'm going to move it down like that. Now I'm going to, before I'm going to apply the changes, I'm going to click enter. And now before I merge down again, what I want to do is come up here to adjust color. And I'm going to do hue and saturation. And I'm going to change the color of my guy. Now what I'm going to do is merge down. And I'm going to reposition. So if I just want to make sure I kind of move it over a little bit like that. So that's looking pretty good. And now what I'm going to do is duplicate again. Edit, free transform, hold down shift and rotate once. And I'm going to do that hue shift again. And now I'm getting some super weirdo digital art going on. Okay, at this point, what I'm going to do is merge down. And I think that I'm ready to save. When you are finished with about 8 of them and you basically have a big circle merged down into one layer, you just want to make that as symmetrical as possible. So that's kind of get it in the center, or as in the center as possible, like line these up with the guidelines. And then we are ready to save. What we want to do at that point is we're going to take our grid layer and we are going to delete that layer. So all we have is our art and a transparent background. And what we're going to do is File, Save. And we're going to change that to, I'll do red base guy art with layers. Okay, cool. All right, now I'm going to click save and save it up. Once you have one layer and you have saved it, now what we can do is go crazy with it. So we can duplicate this layer and go edit, free transform. And if you hold down shift, it'll make it so you don't distort as much. Now at this point, if you let go of shift, you can also just do it free-handed. So when you have completed your digital art spiral, and at this point, if I'm looking at my screen, I've got something like, what, 1,000 layers? If I weren't just doing that duplicate, merge, it's the point of this project is that it's really easy to create really cool complexity with just using duplicate, rotate, flip, and trying to use some design tools. So what I want you to do is we're going to save this, and we're going to save red face guy art with layers final, and we're going to click OK. That looks great. I'm excited to see what you make, and I'll see you next time.